Alright, time to get more stuff that remains and then finish the game.
Has there ever been a Batman storyline that's triggered with yeah, I mean, you know, Batman's no kill policy. Did it ever trigger off of him accidentally killing somebody?
What do you mean, like a game that penalizes you for that?
No, like a comic or anything where the story kicks off with Batman accidentally killing somebody.
Actually, yes. Well, the answer is yes and no. Basically, relatively recent, I say, but basically there was a comic about Failsafe, essentially, where apparently it's revealed that Batman did actually put in a contingency plan for himself.
Patient's name is Edward Nigma, also known as the Riddler. So, Edward.
Alright, now for the Riddler tapes.
Shoot, I keep forgetting Riddler actually does have tapes in this game. Nice design for Alfred.
What is it that walks on 4 legs, then 2 legs, and finally 3 legs?
A human being. As a baby, it crawls
Classic,
on 4 legs. As an
this
adult,
being's
it walks
Riddle.
on 2. And in later years, it uses a cane.
Good try. But the answer to all 3 is a baby. True, it crawls on all 4s,
but the baby's a human being.
Riddler is not.
How would you give a baby a crutch?
Pedantic beget pedantic.
Easily, Doctor.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Riddler's not above cheating sometimes when he's just that pissed.
How could I not see it until now? The monster had a confederate.
I mean, at least it's not like it's just not like whenever Two-Face just decides you'll screw the coin toss, which isn't particularly in character.
Yeah. Like, Riddler is typically about the honor, but he is not above being petty.
I know that happened with Batman Forever. Did that happen with the Dark Knights?
Not really.
Dash the woman's head to the glass. I let her continue.
Okay, now Arkham is just describing the Joker and Harley. What the hell?
That would be useful once the Mad Dog has been executed. I'm sure the woman.
I thought the Mad Dog was already done years ago.
If not willingly,
Something really is not matching up.
Under electronic persuasion. After that, a lobotomy, I think.
Okay, interestingly enough, this might be set up for what happens in the Arkham movie. But I'll talk about that later. Yeah, since technically there is a scene with electroshock therapy, and it's implied that if I recall correctly, it was implied that if they didn't get the info out of Harley and the Suicide Squad by then, that lobotomy was going to come afterwards, so maybe that was them referencing this.
Watching him. No one can provide a cure. He laughs in the face of those who try. Amadeus would not have let him live.
What?
Wait, but I thought you were Amadeus.
One last sip of cognac, and I was ready.
Okay.
Plot twist. Amadeus never existed.
Amadeus.
That was Dr. Zayas.
Well, that's the thing. That song's actually a parody of the Amadeus song, but more people probably know about the Zayas song. Really, Riddler, you think Batman would look up stuff on the internet?
In this economy.
Yeah.
Instead, you need to buy the official strategy guide at the end. I don't even think this game had one.
You know, official strategy guide.
Alfred, could you Google where the Joker was last night?
it's like that edited panel from No Man's Land where Batman is yelling a megaphone. Does anyone see the Joker?
Very well.
Alright, let's go collect some more of the trinkets left behind, because if I recall correctly, one of them is also for another villain that I wish was in this game, but unfortunately it didn't.
Also, I see we're taking a page of Riddler's origin that involves him having a not-so-great dad.
Couple of them actually, you know, fall into that. Two-Face also for this continuity, and something similar to what happened to the limited series.
So this iteration of the Riddler's penchant for riddles and sense of honor in accepting the challenges comes from how his father did not believe that he had made certain achievements on his own and insisted that he cheated.
Basically, it leaves, what if Dick Layton actually was a thing?
Yep.
Whichever one he is, just being in his company is both irritating and exhausting. Hello.
Shame, really.
You look tired. Anything you need my help with?
Let's see who we have here. Oh, Garfield Lins, aka Firefly. Another villain that tends to flip-flop between dangerous and goofy.
You're in the right place.
Let's look at it a different way. Throughout your career, you have specialized in bizarre traps and convoluted clues that more often than not result in the death of the unfortunate participants.
And if the citizens of Gotham were smarter, my games would be merely an amusing diversion.
Yeah, skinny, bro.
Look, if they were smarter, then they wouldn't die so countlessly.
It's called natural selection.
Yeah, I'm basically the world's biggest Darwinist.
What a lovely soul on your desk, Doctor. Your family. Mother, perhaps.
Put that down. Get out. Guard.
Oh, don't have Zatanna being around with that kind of, you know, statement. She's gonna wipe your memory to make you ineffective.
Oh, Lord.
Firefly will have a slightly different design from this when he will show up eventually, but will stay close for the most part. Yeah, I can see that game, thank you.
Lovely. What does Batman even do with all these Riddler trophies?
He sends them to the Batcave? I don't know.
No. His cape, his cowl is secretly got a portal inside it.
Ah, yes, he secretly has a boom tube when he harvested, you know, a mother box one time.
He watched as I entered the cell. He smiled as I showed him the knife. I told him how I will use it, how I will cleanse this city, and then terror. I was paralyzed. I struggled.
Should he not Ra's al Ghul from Batman Begins?
Surprisingly,
the
no.
monster looked at me, expressionless.
Another film calls it
Raz,
but
slowly across my forehead.
People tend to flip-flop on the pronunciations.
Yeah.
His horrible porcelain face. And I heard the filth fall from his mouth. He laughed and called me that horrible name.
what, Tosser?
I guess, like, did the Joker just, you know, made you a sick burn with a slur or something? What the hell happened?
It sounds like Joker gave him a smile put on that face.
And since we found Harley Quinn's, you know, small hideout, I guess she was, you know, hiding here, waiting until the right moment.
We do figure out that apparently this had months of planning behind it, so yeah, it makes sense she'd have her own
And that's
place.
her original cowl.
Because it is implied that this mission is the first one she's doing with her new outfit. I just find it funny that, you know, we go on about how her outfit was hot here, yet 2 years later in 2011, and no, I'm not talking about her outfit in City, spicy as that one was, the New 52 would come in, and that gave in, oh boy, the outfit that was just trying too hard with Harley Quinn.
Discuss your obsession with Batman.
Hardly an obsession, Miss Young. I simply feel an obligation to expose him.
You know who he is?
More important, I know what he is.
What do you mean?
Translation, you don't actually know who he is.
Weapon criminal. No different than Joker and Two-Face. Or myself.
Most people consider him a hero.
Most people are idiots. They can't see Batman for the villain he is. Riddle me this. How did he get his car and his gadgets? With money stolen from the
I love that the Riddler doesn't even consider minimally the fact that Batman might actually be a rich person.
The answers are
It's
No.
his
It's someone who takes bribes. Like,
It's his greatest failing. It's kind of akin to that one time where Lex Luthor actually hired a scientist who developed a machine that could weed out who Superman was, and when the machine came to the conclusion that it was Clark Kent, he fired her because he could not fathom that someone would live such a humble life despite having the powers of Superman.
mind you, there have been cases where the Riddler learned the secret identity of Batman via different means, most infamously in Hush, thanks to just a dump into the Lazarus Pit, but that was kind of cheating in its own right. It's just that they never had any idea what to do with it.
Can no longer tolerate his mood swings and tantrums. And more important was to be getting on with. He will be transferred to Dr. Whistler's care as of next week.
Good morning.
Also, just to mention, because we talked over it, Dr. Young was considering Edward, to be a subject of the Titan experiments. Like, he wanted to see, hulking Riddler from the scrapped concept from Batman Forever. Also, well, there you go. Apparently, Dr. Young wanted to do that.
Well, clearly she was a fan of the Batman Forever video game. Good for her.
It's always fascinating to see, adaptations of a media recovering deleted concepts and just presenting it as complete new material, like the Nightmare sequence in the Toy Story video game.
Yeah.
No, Joker. Yeah.
Edward, if you know anything, you've got to tell me. Lives could be at stake. What did Joker say?
You forget, Doctor. I'm the one who asks the riddles.
So yeah, he wasn't telling her squat.
Although apparently, again, he too knew to some degree. Anyway, time for Victor Zaz.
Diagnosed to have murdered several women. So let's give him a female doctor.
Genius, I tell you.
Again! Arkham! Hey, let's give the male doctor to Poison Ivy. Hey, let's give the female doctor to the serial killer with a pattern of killing women.
You know, Corby crazy, but
Well, you're in the right place, Libs.
But something tells me that Gotham isn't really helping itself with its villain issues.
No.
Okay, to be fair, it's a bit complicated in the sense that one could argue the problem is Arkham. There have been some iterations where they just shut Arkham down and actually do use a better sanitarium, essentially.
Well, more like a sanitarium. How they call this?
And you know what's the best part with Arkham Origins serves to say that this was the better alternative, because otherwise they would have had to dump all these people in Blackgate Prison and we would have started riots every single day.
Something about not having the budget for proper mental health care and all that jazz.
Mind you, it's also part of the bigger plot tied to the Arkham games, but we had to get to City for that. So
you may recall Dr. Cassidy as one of the younger doctors that we've met before as well.
He was similar to Dr. Gretchen, kind of a, blink and you miss kind of character. But yeah, Zaz's Psychosis is pretty straightforward. Compared to someone like the Joker or Two-Face, it's not like, again, he has anything particularly fanciful about him except the mark. Otherwise, he just wants to really kill people, specifically women. And sometimes he poses them. Ooh.
There are some iterations of him that are more interesting than others. I actually did find it interesting how they worked with him in the Telltale games. Like, he still has the mark thing, but the ironic thing is, aside from the marking thing, he was actually relatively chill and one of the better behaved inmates. It's just that when you mess with the marks, that's when he goes absolutely haywire.
I remember the days where there were rumors that he was supposed to be the main villain for The Dark Knight Rises before it was eventually revealed to be Bane. What a time.
How would you have... Well, okay, I get how you would do him in that series, like, you know, the Nolan trilogy praises and rises itself on being realistic, but how do you make a whole movie around Zaz? He's not exactly some criminal mastermind.
If that was not a guess, maybe it was early in development they wanted to have a plot more similar to Nightfall as in Bane using a bunch of smaller villains to tire out Batman. Maybe.
About the one that got away. The one I chose. I needed the mark. I want the mark.
Well.
Wow, I'm sure
Alright,
he took
we're actually
things
closer.
Another one who
Great,
doesn't
huh?
deserve to live.
Now he's talking about
Why do
Scarecrow.
these people thrive on chaos? Joker, in particular, desired anarchy. And since his escape will no doubt wreak it upon my city, I feel this is the end for my diary. Joker will be recaptured. My story will be told. I am not afraid. If Arkham becomes my cell, then I will know I did my best. I will be remembered.
Oi, it sure is convenient that I've been finding these tablets in just the right order.
Sort to mention, if I recall correctly, this was the winner of a contest. I don't remember the specific on how, was chosen, but it was a case of, you're facing the game as an inmate. So, that's it.
Goody.
Kind of reminds me of that the infamous Nintendo Power contest where someone, was supposed to star in the Mask sequel, but the movie took so long to be made that the winner just decided to take a prize in cash. Which, yeah, rule number one, when you have an alternative for a prize, take the money.
So yeah, Gretchen took over for Dr. Cassidy.
Although as you can see, as you can hear, she really did not make that much progress. The Arkham staff, everyone, they could not, they find out that Victor manages to get a knife and did not busted him on that. What the hell?
They're trying to subdue him without killing him, I guess.
Actually, that was pretty easy. Very an inconvenience.
I literally just looked.
Alright, now we can finally clear... Remember that room where Harley Quinn trapped us? Yeah, now we can finally clear the toxin. Meaning that we can get the Easter eggs from here. Specifically, Prometheus. Now, people who have read stuff like, Cry for Justice will recoil in horror, but man, I really wish we did get a boss fight against this guy, because he really would have fit these games.
He was so cool in his debut. Basically, he's anti-Batman. Whereas Batman's parents were killed by a criminal, Prometheus's parents were criminals killed by the cops, essentially.
Victor has been in isolation since the attack on Zagar last week. As I wait for him to be brought up to me, I have had time to review his notes. I am increasingly worried he cannot be cured. He has no empathy for his victims. Deep down, I believe he views all of us as potential.
Yeah, I get the feeling this took place after the Killer Croc tape, because you can tell Gretchen's a lot more cynical regarding patients.
Mm-hmm. Apparently Zaz did manage to stalk again the other doctor, which, to be fair, he had mentioned that he had known already her habits. How? I don't know. Zaz is this particular, obsession in managing to stalk his victims to a T, basically.
And he's escaped Arkham and gone after Dr. Cassidy.
I kind of like the touch of that the doctors refer to each other with their first name, very colloquially. So, Dreams, in the meantime, you played the Insomniac Spider-Man games, right?
I have, yeah. Well, the first one and the bit of Miles Morales.
Hold on, I'll ask you after this.
Even though Amadeus had
that shadow looks familiar.
His spirit lived on. surviving.
Like I said, it's a good
moving
thing
through the
Batman happens
walls
to
of
be
his
finding
asylum.
these messages in
When
just
he
the
chose
right
me,
order.
I felt proud. I was honored to continue his work, to cleanse this city. If you are strong-willed enough to follow my
So yeah, if you
tales,
follow the clues, you can
are
kinda guess
strong-minded
already who
to
might be
deduce
the
my
spirit of Amadeus
identity.
Arkham, and his,
Come
you
and
know,
find
the
me.
messages are pointing you to go to find that.
Together, we will save
Remind
Gotham.
me, Tio. Do you basically just get the story in order no matter what order you find
Yes,
the messages in? Or...
yes.
Okay, I figured. Yeah.
It's for convenience sake. It's kind of similar to Arkham Origin, and something similar going on with the Cyrus Pinckney, you know, diaries.
Also, for those worried about how the Victor's ass tapes ended, don't worry, Dr. Cassidy survives. Well, you know that because she
That
shows up in
happens,
the game, but
I-
a comic actually does show
Yeah.
that Batman, being Batman, swooped in at just the right moment to stop Zaz.
That was one of the things that happened in the prequel comic book. Anyway, as you can imagine, yeah, it was, for some reason, Sharpie. No idea why, but let's hear it.
My name is Quincy Sharp, the spirit of Amadeus Arkham. You have done
Yep.
well to decipher my story, and I pray it has helped you. on your
Arkham City
path.
will actually reveal
I
kind
trust
of
that
what's
through my
the
writings,
fucking
you
deal
will
with
do
this,
what is
you
right.
know, time shenanigans. It will
I
be more
implore
of a
you,
one-day
continue
solution.
my work.
But
The city
yeah,
deserves
when
a
Harley
savior.
called Quincy Sharp a
Continue my
loon,
work.
she actually was not entirely kidding.
Like I said, City and Night retcons, apply retcons that there was something else going on at the same time. Anyway, basically to continue from before, Dweebs, have you played, specifically in the first PS4 Spider-Man game, the Taskmaster missions? I know that they're particularly difficult, but I guess you have tried them, right?
If I have, I don't really remember them.
Okay, because Prometheus is kind of like that guy. Anyway, after you received you resolve enough riddle, there you go. Batman magically just triangulates his position. In order to actually seek in the cops, we will actually have to resolve all of the remaining riddles. But, you know, at this point, it's kind of, you know, just a matter of a very simple cleanup because you're at the finishing line.
Don't mind me, just about to dox the Riddler.
What a maverick. Specifically, if I recall correctly, we're about to do it now because that's also the end of the game. So the only thing that I have to do is to delete one more tooth. So there you go.
You did it? You must have cheated. There is no way you could have beaten me. Well, you asked for it, Batman. My final challenge for the whole of Gotham is just seconds away. What?
FBI, open up!
Police? You cheated, Batman. You couldn't have
How did
outsmarted
Batman
me.
call the police suddenly?
He triangulated his position and sent the call to the cops. You didn't notice that he was doing that when he collected one of the riddle before.
Tell me, how did you work out where I was? Do you hear me? I, Edward Nigma,
And Edward probably got beaten up by the cops. Hooray! Anyway, more important matters at hand. Let's get to the party. Believe it or not, the game is about to have a laugh at you.
Guest list only. If your name's not on the list, you ain't going
Sure.
in. Let's see. A. No, that's not right.
No.
B.
Okay,
B.
no.
Have you looked under W for weight? Oh,
Batman. Hey. Looks like you're the guest of
Fucking
honor.
idiot.
Give him a big welcome.
Oh, look,
guys.
they're even fucking applauding me. How kind of them.
congratulations!
Is this how you went to series?
Yep.
You know, I should just, you know, open the door. But...
Oh, for a moment I thought you were going to do what a lot of people like to do and actually use the line launcher to get a nice combo strike on several of them, but this works too.
You also get an achievement for actually doing this. If I call it, it's like something called like Party Pooper. In hard mode, you're heavily discouraged from doing this because, as you can imagine, there are quite a, you know, huge amount of rules in a very teeny tiny space. So, although this is where the throw maneuver kind of comes into play better, technically.
Do it again? What of them? I mean, I'm not kink-shaming, but...
I mean, when you think about it, someone who's a masochist going against Batman probably would look good on a resume, since it's someone who can definitely take a punch from the goddamn Batman.
This also comes, you know, as a bit of a, you know, combination in Arkham Knight, where you can hear in conversation that there's one particular goon who has managed to be in, just, you know, not one with a name, but just one random goon that has managed to be in every single one of those games and has never been managing to meet Batman. So you can potentially continue the streak by leaving him alone, or actually ruin that.
Which, you know, kudos to him, man's gotten immensely lucky.
I mean, it's kind of, you know, something that you should potentially expect. It's kind of like, you know, having a random, you know, robber having to witness all the cosmic crises going on in the DC universe and not being affected by them. Anyway, apparently everything leads to one more therapy session with the Joker. Sure, whatever. Let's hear it.
Are you excited, Bats? I mean, we've been
Still don't understand why I'm in
this
first
point
person.
all night. Don't tell me you've not been looking forward to it. I know I have. Surprise!
Yeah, unsurprisingly, the Joker was under our nose the whole time.
You don't want to miss this, really.
Batman could have just smashed the glass.
Dude was immensely fast given
Bruce,
how he could... Oh, wait.
You wanna get out of a room? Apparently I forgot how to open a door. I blame One Face for this.
Yep. And Batman died.
No, it's okay. I got my anti-explosive armor on.
The blast-proof armor, sure.
You're not Adam West.
Batman, come on. You don't...
Just waiting. I'm just waiting for my hearing to come back.
Yeah, you don't really need to have tinnitus among everything else. Alright, let's finish this.
Why didn't you stop?
Yeah, and apparently Joker has the Scarface puppet for some reason.
Me? It was your plan, you goofy clown.
Joker, you're not a very good ventriloquist.
I'm sending you back to the ventriloquist where you belong.
I like the idea of the throne built using mannequins that resemble a corpse tower.
Everything, didn't you? Beating up Bane, feeding Scarecrow to Croc, slapping around Harley, my hobby, by the way, and
TMI.
ruining all my lovely Venom plans.
It's over, Joker.
Over? Why, my dear delusional Dark Knight, it hasn't even begun.
Alright, the beginning of the end opens up with yet another duel against two Titan moves, in this case two poor guards that have been mutated.
Well, surely this is build up for a final epic climactic showdown between Batman and his nemesis, the Joker.
I mean, to be fair, one consistent thing is that the Joker has never been, you know, physically fit for, you know, a confrontation with Batman, so you will have to, you know, make it work around in a very specific manner to do so. Even, you know, something like Origin just reduces that to a very simple beatdown.
Well, that's the thing. Starting in the, well, most notably in the 2000s, it seems like both comics and shows did try to make more of an effort to have Joker be able to actually square up with Batman hand to hand.
There was the Batman who turned him into a snake for some reason. I had no idea
snake? What?
Wasn't that like the one where he was turning to a snake or something, or was that like a crossover?
No. That's Batman and TMNT you're thinking of.
Okay, let me check again the design just to be sure. I remember some weird shit happening in the Batman with him.
Okay, for the Batman, just Google Batman 2004, but when it came to that, he could do Kung Fu, so he could actually throw hands with Batman. Comics-wise, though, starting with his reintroduction with The Man Who Laughs, essentially a story establishing the new take on the Joker for that one, which pretty much established, yes, he had taken the toxic dip and all that.
Okay, never mind. Apparently, but the Batman 2004 turns him into a vampire instead. I forgot about that.
Yes. During the Batman vs. Dracula movie. But anyway, but yeah, he can do kung fu and a ton of other fighting moves, in addition to his gadgets to match wits with Batman. As for the comics, around the time of The Man Who Laughs, they established that Joker has two things that allow him to be able to fight with Batman squarely. One is his unpredictability. The other is his speed. Like, going off of that, apparently comics really do emphasize that Joker is, like, insanely fast, partly due to his insanity, to the point where even Batman can sometimes have trouble reacting in time to him, which is something that the Joker mode in Asylum does seem to roll with, essentially. Personally, I think if you combine that with his gadgets, you can make an interesting one-on-one fight against him.
And then there are the first Injustice, which says, hey, magic pills to put you at the same level of a Kryptonian. Neat.
Beautiful. The things we do for fighting games here and there.
Oh,
you know,
balance,
interestingly...
baby.
Interestingly bring up the Batman 2004... Interestingly bring up the Batman 2004 series. That's one of the few times where they actually had a Joker who apparently legitimately does love Harley. In his own crazy way, mind you.
Also, how am I not dead? I literally don't have any more on health bar.
Because you're the goddamn Batman!
For the record, this is not like a scripted event where I cannot die. I just literally have like 1 HP.
I think it's like as long as you don't get hit.
Yeah,
I think it might also
get hit. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, hold on. We have we're almost done, which means we have to get to the final boss, infamously. Yeah. Bravo.
You deserve a prize.
So get these waves.
Commissioner.
Gordon got captured off screen again.
He looks all
How? He was saved back in Gotham. How did that happen? And also this.
Well, crud.
Get away! Here we go! We're gonna have some fun now, kiddies! You're trying to resist the change! That's not fair! Come on, get in! So, you wanna play hardball, bats, do you? Your call!
Okay, that is admittedly pretty funny.
Oh, you're ruining my big night! Months of planning down the crapper! I just wanted to bring down your...
However, the Joker decides to do something that condemns this entire timeline on the long run, believe it or not.
Corner and bleeding. But you've denied
All the butterfly effect. This.
to live for.
Joker, no! Don't do that! You'll cheat the audience out of a great final boss! But yes, Joker has decided to literally take matters into his own hands now.
You know, Jack Ryder, this is why people follow Vicky Vale instead. You kinda suck. So, is it now a good time for Barry or Superman to intervene? No? Really?
Sure would come in handy, but, well, Tio, at least in this game we haven't established that Metropolis and Central City are a thing, so maybe it's all self-contained.
Now, in case you're wondering, yes, I know what happens in Suicide Squad Kills Justice League. Anyway, here's this abomination. Can't believe the Joker turned himself into a Titan. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
I thought he was going to throw Batman into the helicopter.
And yet somehow this is still not as grotesque as Absolute Joker.
No. At least there was a justification kinda for that one. But yeah, at the very least, hey, maybe Batman mutates as well if we have a kaiju fight, you know, right? And Gordon somehow has been put into an electric chair as the referee.
You know, given what happens in Origins, I get the feeling Joker was feeling nostalgic about this.
You know what they say, Jova, a great classic never dies.
You know you want to.
What especially fucks me up with this design is the mohawk. Like, why the mohawk?
Yeah, like, I have no idea. Also, for some reason, Joker is able to keep his
sanity, quote unquote. Maybe it's because his mutated blood has a different reaction with the Titan. City will partially mention that too. But yeah, Batman decided to use the antidote that he had just on himself, for at least for the time being. So, how does this cool final boss happen? Dodges attacks until he retreats, on top of a perch, defeat the ghouls, and then pull him off. Do it 3 times and you're done. Yay.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just say, everyone had a field day tearing this final boss.
Gone.
Everyone has had their field day taking the piss out of this final boss. Like, magazines. I remember magazines, especially Game Informer, in their reviews saying the game was almost perfect, but this was on, like, the top 10 list of disappointing final bosses. Like, it truly is. You have all this build-up. You've had to go through some Titan boss fights, but you know they can do something kind of different. Poison Ivy.
And Killer
And okay.
Croc,
And you know what? Sure, fine. Joker's a Titan, but they have such big build-up for the final fight, and it's some of the most simplistic stuff. Some might even argue it's even more simple than your typical Titan boss fights in this game. Because at least with those, you actually have to dodge and sometimes even take control of them. But no, not with Joker. Like,
anyway, Jack Ryder unwittingly helps you because it literally distracts the Joker and you can literally pull him off like a fucking fish.
Yeah, so much for that Titan formula, Joker. You can get pulled down by a relatively normal Batman.
I mean, to be fair, that was like a triple, the triple, back, but it was established that he was able to pull walls with that thing. Also, in case you're wondering, no, this is not an escort mission. You don't have to worry about Gordon's health. He's literally there just to be tortured, the poor fucker.
Jesus.
I really don't understand why they needed to pull him off. He had a good, moment of getting out of the island with Bane. Why did we need to recapture him? Like,
I'm wondering if they had a mechanic in mind for this fight to make it time limited, but just didn't add that in.
I don't know, like, we could have used, like, another one of the doctors, maybe, instead. Or,
I guess
Quincy Sharp again. He was still on the island, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. If I recall correctly, as far as we know, Quincy Sharp just up and disappears.
Again,
somehow.
He will be back for City specifically, and he will learn more about his old steel shtick with, the Spirit of Arkham. But again, for the purpose of this game, they could have used him. Gordon just feels gratuitous and nonsensical to be put here. It really reeks of that the game was supposed to go in a different direction, but they changed it at some point. Which again, to be fair, it was a relatively, inexperienced team. Only one game under their belt. And again, licensed games have the reputation of being, not particularly good in general as a whole, especially superhero ones. Like the bar was particularly low, so while this is still disappointing, I can tell that it's still more tolerable than stuff that happens in, for example, Batman Dark Tomorrow,
Yeah. But this is really the sad and disappointing thing, though, because if I recall correctly, there have been other games with Joker boss fights that are better than this. Shoot! Minor spoilers, but the Joker boss fight in City, which is more or less a mook rush, was better than this, because at least that was a unique challenge and take here. And honestly, the disappointing thing is, as we'll see later when we actually do the Joker missions, they had an interesting idea for how Joker could actually fight with Batman in this game, so I honestly would have rather we got that kind of boss fight. Like, I get that Titan's a thing in this game and all that, but give me a sophisticated Joker boss fight any day. And like I mentioned, a lot of critics definitely tore into this final boss, and I would say rightfully so, because it's the end of the journey to an otherwise fantastic game, and like, I get it, sometimes people will say it's more about the journey than the destination, but don't undersell the importance of the destination. Like, it doesn't ruin the game, but it is just such a massive disappointment. Like the Titan boss fights were already kind of getting meandering, but to end on a Titan boss fight and then barely do anything different with it is just like, I have to wonder if they gave up. Also, Joker gets distracted very easily for what's supposed to be his magnum opus plan.
And for finishing the boss, you do that in a cutscene, not even in actual gameplay.
I can take anything you throw at me, Bats. You can't beat me.
So, although I kind of like how it ends, Batman uses every single drop of the explosive gel for basically doing a megaton fist. Watch this.
Never.
Why couldn't we do this in the game?
Punched him in the teeth.
Yeah, in the
bigger bang.
Squaring the jaw, basically. I'm sure Bruce has probably dislocated a couple of bones in his hand and arm, but he's gonna be fine.
Don't worry, my explosive shock absorbers in the glove protected my hand.
Finally has control of the asylum.
So yeah, with the Joker apprehended, everything is slowly returning to normality, including mass-producing the antidote and administrating that to the inmates and the guards.
Venom-enhanced inmates are returning to normal.
Oh, well, that ends well.
Can be quite painful.
Yeah, needless to say, this night did not end well for the Joker. I'm sure he'll bounce back from this just fine.
Thanks, Jim, but I have one on the way.
Get some rest. You deserve it.
Stay safe, Jim.
Of course. You know,
in typical Batman fashion, we have something else to deal with.
When is the Two-Face not robbing a bank?
But it's the second national one, Tio.
Of course. Alright, there is technically a post-credit scene, but it's so inconsequential that, like, I don't even know, you know, why even bother. But to be fair, anyway, yes. And once again, let's keep it this. We can start our final thoughts while the goofy artwork that is used for the power-up show up. Still love them.
I mean, overall, I did enjoy the story for the most part, mainly because of the voice actors in it. More so the villains. I mean, Kevin Conroy's fine in this role, in this, but I've heard him give better performances in this, to be honest.
It's the screams, isn't it?
It's not just the screams, it's some of the dialogue as well. A lot of it just kind of sounded like he was just going through the motions.
I also still argue that there is the problem of the weird sentence mixing, where sometimes two different takes are mingled together and you can audibly hear that.
I'd say this was a lot of their first time doing voice acting, but no, if I recall correctly, Conroy, Hamill, and Sorkin were in for Batman Vengeance.
Mm.
Well, Sorkin did alright as Harley Quinn, considering her age at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing this is the last time she played Harley before.
If I recall correctly, yes.
I'll double check.
Yeah, Mark Hamill is
actually no.
Joker.
Actually, no. She actually voiced Harley Quinn for DC Universe Online. That was actually her final time voicing Harley.
The graphics, I mean, for a 360 era game, which version did you play again, Tio?
The PC version. That's why it's in 60 FPS. So.
Yeah, for a game around this time, it looks pretty good. There's little in the way of the Vaseline look that games typically had around this time. Combat, you know, I mean, okay, it's not really my thing, since I don't tend to do very well with Square Enix, yeah. I don't tend to do well with things where you have to fight a load of enemies at once. But, yeah, I mean, it looks fun, at least. Music's just kind of there, to be honest. That's really all about it. I'm interested to see what Arkham City does with the formula later on.
Before leaving to you, Drova, just to mention briefly something that I wanted to say from the beginning about Square Enix. My mind goes back to an old Steph Sterling video about it was titled something like online Batman is everything wrong with Square Enix right now, because it was the one time where DC had commissioned Square Enix to make a Batman action figure, and because it was designed by Tetsuya Nomura, it was so over detailed. And I find that particularly ironic, considering instead it's thanks to Square Enix when we have this game series now instead.
Yep.
So the irony. Go on, Drova.
Yeah. What can I say? This game's a classic. If we didn't have this game, we wouldn't have the Arkham series as a whole, and it's fantastic. Like I said, like I said, this is the Arkham game I come back to the least, but that is not me saying it's bad. It's just the fact that every game after it pretty much does just about everything better. Except for maybe story in some regards, but even still, that's
Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
Right, that is technically an
developed by Rocksteady.
Made by Rocksteady. We will tackle that eventually. And like I said, it's a contender for worst Arkham game in my book. Now, I will need to maybe compare that to Blackgate, which is also the other black sheep of the series, but... not great memories on that one. But this game is fantastic. It's really just a matter that, well, it's aged in obvious matters. It's the first installment, so not all the cool bells and whistles that would come later were here. So what do we actually have in this game? Fantastic voice acting, a pretty good overall narrative that, it acts as an excuse to run into several of Batman's rogues gallery. I'd argue does it well enough, essentially. The gadgets and gizmos truly make you feel like Batman, especially how you can incorporate them into not just traversal and exploration, but the combat itself. Now, the obvious sore point is, of course, the boss fights. Like, for a rogues gallery as varied and colorful as Batman's, a lot of these boss fights are bog standards. Bane himself essentially is turned into an elite mook boss with his boss fight, which is basically a Titan fight. I guess if we count Scarecrow and Croc's sequences as boss fights, they change some things up, but with Scarecrow it's more like a mook rush after some hide and seek, and then with Croc, that's... Again, you're outwitting Croc, but, if you're expecting like a boss fight with proper fisticuffs, not so much. So it comes down to Joker and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, I'd say, was at least interesting enough with the stuff she puts you through, though honestly, I think we could have actually given her a proper fight. Like, shoot, if you were gonna have Joker be hulked out, at least have us fight against one clown in proper stature. And then there's Poison Ivy's sequence. It's not a Titan boss fight. Hurrah! It's a boring projectile fight. Hooroo. Where you're more or less just flinging your batarangs at her and she doesn't seem to learn from her mistakes. Okay, yeah, and like I mentioned, the final boss fight with Joker Titan is... lame. Like, even if you had to make him a Titan, at least make the fight more interesting, but no, it's arguably, potentially the easiest boss fight in the whole damn game, and while you do get some spectacle here and there, it's arguably more in the cutscenes than the fight as well. It just feels like such a major sore point. You get everything else so well, but something as crucial as the boss fights, not so much. That said, aside from that, the music's good. Not my favorite Arkham soundtrack, I think that's probably more so City, but nonetheless, good. Helps set the atmosphere and mood and whatnot. And the penchant they go with for the lore is pretty great. It shows that they got Paul Dini on there, but also that they got a good comic book writer's aesthetic going on for not just the character designs, but the writing and the looks into the lore of characters and whatnot. Good stuff. It gives you plenty of stuff to do, and best of all, if you want, you can complete it before you even finish the game. A nice little bonus in my degree. So yeah, honestly, it was a fantastic start at the time, and while it's aged, I still do recommend giving it at least one playthrough. You can technically skip ahead to City. City more or less recaps enough of Asylum so that you get the gist of it. And for a lot of people, City was where they actually started, especially since City was the first Arkham game to actually come to Nintendo as well.
Also, Mark Hamill gets top billing for some reason.
I think he was like the biggest name they had in this thing at the
Kevin
time.
Conroy should have taken top billing. Come on, it's literally the protagonist. But then again,
he should have.
What do I think? Again, this is what eventually will lead to the Ratchet and Clank movie having top billing for the bad guy.
Oh, yeah, like, do not get me wrong. I absolutely agree that Kevin Conroy probably should have gotten top billing. I'm just getting into that executive mindset. Mark Hamill was definitely the biggest name they had, so of course they were going to laud the fact over the fact they got him in, which is funny because he was already in Batman games like Batman Vengeance and The Adventures of Batman and Robin on the Sega CD. Crunchy as that sound may have sounded, but I digress. Nah, this is a great game. I recommend giving it a playthrough. Shoot. In Steam, it can go as low as like $2.95 essentially, or $2.99. Like, the Arkham games in general go low there. In which case, I also realized I even still have Arkham Knight with all the DLC in there, so that's something for me to check out. Nevertheless, though, Arkham Asylum is a stellar game. It's a game that earned its mark in video game history, and it's the one that started it all. While it might not keep your attention the most given modern standards have gone up and everything, I do say it is worth a playthrough to get not just the full Arkham experience and story, but just, again, a nice look into history, since despite its age, it still holds up pretty well. So yeah.
Alright, I think we're about to get to the post-credit scene first.
Oh boy, time to see which one we got.
I don't remember if it's randomized or it's dependent on how many Riddler collectibles you got. And in case you're wondering if this credit seems longer, trust me, they get stupidly longer later on.
Yeah, I guess on the plus side, they're crediting
everyone!
Batman
moves away, he's Batwing. In the Gotham River, a lone container titan floats away as it's grabbed instead by, in this case, Killer Croc. What does this mean? Nothing. All this showcases that in City there are one or two Titan mooks still floating around, and Titan is a thing that Batman has to destroy in a side mission, but it's never a threat as big as he imagined. And all the characters that could grab the container, that are either Bane, Killer Croc, or Scarecrow, all of them return in future games in some capacity. This post-credit scene really means nothing in the long run.
Given the mission you get in City, I guess it makes the most sense if you get the cutscene where Bane grabs it.
Not really, because in Arkham City, he needs to find the containers himself, so he doesn't have them to begin with.
Well, that's my point, though. He's collecting them, and he even has his own collection at that point, which leads me to believe this would be the scene that makes the most sense. Otherwise, yeah, okay. It's funny because this led to a lot of speculation people were having, especially given that most people at the time thought that the Scarecrow ending was the canonical one. Mind you, at the time of Asylum, since people had speculations that Scarecrow kind of went out a little too easy, so clearly they had to be setting up something for him in the sequel. Well, they kind of got it half right. He was supposed to be the main bad guy in a sequel. Wasn't City, though. But yeah, I honestly believe that the closest one to being canonical is the Bane one, given that there is technically the Titan storyline with him in City.
If it's something that gets resolved in the actual Arkham City comics, I don't know that yet. So sorry, audience.
possible. Like, I'm an Arkham fan, but I'll admit, even I have not tackled every single comic.
I'll still try to give it a look, like in between runs. Alright, as for my final thoughts, that's not much more that I can add, so it's mostly what Joel said. This is still a fun game to play, but it after 15 years, that it's been released, 15 plus, it does show its age. Not necessarily for the worst, but there are better things that you can play instead of this. I still wouldn't recommend skipping it if you want to start the series, but it's definitely one of those more rough around the edges kind of thing. And like I said, for some, I've really found it a bit bizarre that the original English dub seems to have quite a bit of a problem in terms of mixing its voice lines, while instead foreign dubs, not just from my country, about to listen to a bit to, for example, the French dub, they seem to be perfectly fine. This is something that bothers me because I thought it was mostly just potentially a thing in California's dubbing team where they had somehow some level of faulty equipment that occasionally fucked up. But this was a British studio. Yes, I guess they have American actors. I guess they voiced there, but it still feels odd that there wasn't the same level of quality control that happens for actual British dubs. So weird.
If I recall correctly, later Arkham games definitely polished up their voice acting more. I'm wondering if this was a case where this was seen as a relatively smaller project that didn't call for the most ultra super polished of production and all that, obviously before they knew how big it would be.
Who knows? Other than that, I do like the score, even if in some places it's a bit minimalistic. City will actually refine that to have each character get kind of their own leitmotif, basically, and having very memorable pieces. The way the story is composed, it's fine, even if it kind of stumbles in the finishing line. There's also the level of frustration that they mentioned, where Batman cannot catch a break because we need to have the villains actually put up a decent threat against him to justify him not mopping the floor with them in 2 seconds. But it kind of, get frustrating on the long run because it feels like you're never being able to catch up until the very end. And even then, it feels more something like you can actually, break a bit of a sweat, and rather than actually be triumphant. And similar to the Sly games, cherish this ending of this game because it's the only one that it genuinely feels very triumphant from Batman. All the others do have something particular that tarnishes in some capacity.
I think Origins lets you end relatively triumphant if you do things a certain way, but otherwise, yeah, I do get what you mean.
Again, if you're a fan of these kind of stories to begin with, then you shouldn't have a problem, but I personally do prefer, I'm starting to prefer, again, stories that have a more satisfying kind of conclusion, catharsis factor and all. And while it is technically a factor in these games, the level of bittersweetness, I argue, is still a bit imbalanced. It will not be apparent up until we get to other games in the franchise, but you can see a bit of, the starting points even in this one. While when you think of something like, say, the animated series, while it had its, downer moments, infamously, Heart of Ice, while it ends triumphant for Batman, it has such a tragic ending. If I recall correctly, that's the episode that won an Emmy for its writing. But it kind of earns it due to the sheer spectacle that it has. Well, in this case, sometimes in these games it does feel a bit more gratuitous, but we'll have to get there for me to elaborate. And for the purpose of this game, it's still fine. And because the ending is more triumphant, it is more satisfying. I kind of wish we were able to actually beat physically the Joker with the explosive punch in game, but I guess they had not perfected a proper QT at that point and just relegated to a cutscene. Alas. The other thing that I want to mention is the unfortunate thing that this game does, which is trend-setting a couple of things, like the slow walk, and especially, a thing that I haven't mentioned, the characters having to immediately tell what the solution of a puzzle might be if you get stuck a bit too long, particularly Batman say, I should use this gadget on a particular, structure, in the nearby vicinance. And it's like, I kind of get it. Similar to, like I mentioned, for example, Halo, when it comes to FPSs, it wasn't necessarily voluntarily a thing, but in the long run, it has led us to most AAA games severely dumbing down their experience in order to favor having a, feeling of showcasing something to the player rather than demanding a level of interaction and, guesswork out of them, which is a double-edged sword, as you can imagine. More convenient to some, but for others, such as myself, it makes you wonder why even making a game at that point. But that's not the story for here. For the purpose of this, thankfully, it still manages to, be more atmospheric without compromising too much the experience. Other than that, like I said, most of what Jova said applies to me as well, for in terms of character relationship and everything, and also for part of the voice acting. Anyway, that's pretty much it, but the game is not yet over. Come back for the next part as we witness the one of the extra modes that this has. No, like I said, we will not see the game over screen, nor the artwork or the 3D models that you unlock by collecting the Riddler stuff. While the artwork might be a nice bonus, the 3D models are just, stuff that you see in game. There's nothing really new that you haven't seen yet. So instead, we will witness the challenge mode, which pits Batman, or maybe another playable character, who knows, in specific combat or predator-oriented arenas. So see you for that.
See you then.
See ya.